Welcome to Cotton Bowl. Arkansas takes on Cornell. For this Action PC playoff game. The kick from Miller. The kick from Miller is returned 36 yards by Brown, Hamburg on the stop. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Scholl hands to Holland. Holland gains 11 on the sweep, Yates on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Peck with the ball now. Peck the ball carrier, gain of 4, Singer on the tackle. Second and 6 from the 22. Single wing formation. Eichler takes the handoff. Eichler on the sweep, gain of 6, Thorpe on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Scholl gives to Eichler. Eichler on the carry, gain of 4, Eakin with the tackle. Single wing formation. Scholl pitches right to Peck. Peck on the carry, no gain, Britt on the tackle. Third and 6 from the 12. Single wing formation. McCullough calls the signals. McCullough drops back to pass. He passes to Holland. Incomplete. McCullough with the pass to Holland, incomplete, Eakin on the coverage. 29-yard attempt for Ruddy. Baker to hold. This will give them the lead. The snap from Van Ranst. Bad snap. But Baker got it down. Ruddy missed the 29-yard kick. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Hand off to Eakin. Eakin throws to Hickey, complete. Eakin completes the pass to Hickey, gain of 10, McCullough on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 30. Single wing formation. The snap is fumbled. Fumble. Eakin lost 5 on the play, fumble recovered by Eakin, Arkansas maintains possession. Second and 15 at the 25. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. Medium slant to Britt. Complete. Eakin to Britt, gain of 23, Eichler on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Eakin on the carry, no gain, Spang on the stop. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. Eakin tucks it under. Eakin with a gain of 2 on the play, Holland on the stop. Third and 8 at the 50. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Eakin on the bootleg, no gain, Worcester on the tackle. Eakin to punt. McCullough standing inside his own 10. .29-yard punt by Eakin, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Shotgun. McCullough fades back to pass. He passes to Peck. Complete. McCullough to Peck, 11-yard gain, Woodell with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Eichler takes the handoff. Eichler the ball carrier, gain of 2, Thorpe with the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Short cross to Holland, complete. McCullough to Holland, gain of 16, Eakin on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Peck with the handoff. Peck lost 2 on the play, Stallings on the stop. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. He fades back to pass. McCullough passes to Peck. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Peck, Woodell on the coverage. Third and 12 from the 48. Single wing formation. McCullough sets to throw. McCullough is off and running. McCullough with a 2-yard run, Yates on the tackle. McCullough to punt. Atwood waiting inside his own 10. "38-yard punt by McCullough, out of bounds. First and 10 from the 12. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Eakin barks out the signals. Atwood hands to Atwood. Atwood on the carry, gain of 3, McKeever with the tackle. Single wing formation. Give to Cole. Cole on the carry, gain of 2, Roth on the tackle. Third and 5 from the 17. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. Eakin is running with it. 1-yard gain by Eakin, West on the stop. Eakin to punt. "40-yard punt by Eakin, return of 10 by McCullough.
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Peck with the handoff. Peck on the carry, gain of 2, Singer with the tackle. Second and 8 from the 34. Single wing formation. Scholl shovels it to Peck. Peck with the carry, no gain, Hickey on the tackle. Third and 8 at the 34. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. Medium out pass to Holland. Complete. McCullough to Holland, touchdown Cornell. Rose will try the point after. Rose missed the extra point, Cornell 6, Arkansas 0. Ruddy to kick off. The kick from Ruddy is returned 29 yards by Eakin, Ruddy on the stop.
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Eakin barks out the signals. Atwood running. Eakin lost 2 on the play, McKeever on the tackle. Second and 12 at the 22. Single wing formation. Eakin back to pass. False. Room to run. Eakin with a 13-yard run, Eichler with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Room for Eakin. Eakin with a gain of 17 on the play, Eichler on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Eakin will run. Big hole. Eakin the ball carrier, gain of 44, Eichler on the tackle, first down. Arkansas breaks the huddle. First and goal at the 4. Single wing formation. Atwood running. Eakin on the carry, touchdown Arkansas. Symington will try the point after. The kick by Symington is good, Arkansas 7, Cornell 6. Here's the kick from Miller.
Kicking team.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Scholl gives to Holland. Room to run. Holland on the carry, 51-yard gain, Eakin on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Big hole, McCullough on the carry, touchdown Cornell. Rose will try the point after. The kick by Rose is good, Cornell 13, Arkansas 7. Ruddy with the kick. The kick from Ruddy is returned 41 yards by Eakin, Ruddy on the tackle. Single wing formation. Eakin in the shotgun. The give to Atwood. Atwood on the carry, no gain, West on the tackle. Arkansas trailing by 6. Single wing formation. Eakin at the line. Mosley with the handoff. Mosley lost 1 on the play, McKeever on the tackle. Third and 11 from the 49. Single wing formation. Eakin at the line. Fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Britt. Incomplete. Eakin to Britt, incomplete. Eakin deep in punt formation. McCullough standing inside his own 10. A 27-yard punt by Eakin, out of bounds. First and 10 from the 22. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Peck with the handoff. Peck lost 1 on the play, Frielberger on the tackle. Single wing formation. Scholl hands to Peck. Peck with a gain of 11 on the play, Eakin with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. High snap. Fumble. McCullough lost 4 on the play, fumble recovered by McCullough, Cornell maintains possession. 2nd and 14 at the 28. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. McCullough is off and running. Lots of daylight. McCullough with the carry, gain of 17, Eakin on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Give to Peck. Peck the ball carrier, gain of 12, Marimore on the tackle, first down, end of the first quarter, Cornell 13, Arkansas 7, single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. He fades back to pass. Medium out. Incomplete. McCullough to Kelly, incomplete. Single wing formation. Eichler with the hand off. Eichler the ball carrier, gain of 6, Hickey on the tackle. Third and 4 from the 37. Single wing formation. Pitch to Brown. Brown with the carry, gain of 5, Britt on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough the ball carrier, loss of 4, Singer on the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium crossing pass. Hawkeye Holland. McCullough completes the pass to Holland, touchdown Cornell. Rose will try the point after. The kick by Rose is no good, Cornell 19, Arkansas 7. Ruddy with the kick. The kick from Ruddy is returned 20 yards by Eakin, Rose on the tackle. Arkansas down by 12. 1st and 10 at the 39. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. The give to Eakin. He throws to Mosley. Incomplete. Eakin to Mosley, incomplete, Peck on the coverage. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. False. Eakin the ball carrier, gain of 9, Worcester with the tackle. Arkansas trailing by 12. 3rd and 1. Single wing formation. Eakin calling signals. Atwood gives to Mosley. Mosley on the carry, no gain, McKeever on the tackle. Eakin back to punt. McCullough standing inside his own 10. "46-yard punt by Eakin, return of 11 by McCullough. First and 10 from the 17. Some confusion on the defense. Single wing formation. McCullough from the shotgun. McCullough calling signals. McCullough fades back to pass. False. Lots of daylight. Timeout, Arkansas. First and 10 from the 49. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. Short cross. Incomplete. McCullough to Spang, incomplete, Atwood on the coverage. Second and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. Scholl gives to Eichler. Eichler the ball carrier, no gain, Hickey with the tackle. Third and 10 at the 49. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. Medium sideline pass to Kelly. Complete. McCullough completes the pass to Kelly, gain of 33, Eaton on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Scholl tucks it under. McCullough on the sweep, gain of 6, Britt on the tackle. Single wing formation. Scholl on the run. McCullough with the carry, no gain, Stallings on the tackle. Third and 4. Single wing formation. Someone jumped. Possible free play for McCullough. Peck with the handoff. Peck lost 2 on the play, flag on the field.
Encroachment, defense. Number 22, 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Running right. Eichler on the carry, touchdown Cornell. Rose will try the point after. Rose converts the extra point, Cornell 26, Arkansas 7. The kick from Ruddy. The kick from Ruddy is returned 33 yards by Eakin, Matuszak on the tackle.
Illegal block. Receiving team, 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Atwood with the handoff. Atwood with an 8-yard run, McKeever on the tackle. Second and 2 at the 40. Single wing formation. Atwood running. Eakin with a 5-yard run, Spang on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Atwood on the run. Eakin with the carry, gain of 12, Roth on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Hand off to Atwood. Has an opening. Atwood with a gain of 15 on the play, West on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Eakin barks out the signals. Give to Mosley. Mosley lost 2 on the play, West with the tackle. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. He dumps it to Hamburg, complete. Eakin completes the pass to Hamburg, gain of 6, Roth on the tackle. Third and 6 from the 24. Single wing formation. Hand off to Eakin. He throws to Cole. He makes the catch. Eakin passes to Cole, gain of 11, Roth on the tackle, first down. Arkansas down 19. First and 10. Single wing formation. Bootleg. 3-yard gain by Eakin, Holland on the stop. Single wing formation. Atwood hands to Cole. Cole with a gain of 6 on the play, Eichler on the tackle. Third and 1 from the 4. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Eakin on the carry, no gain, Kelly on the tackle. 21-yard kick for Symington. Martin to hold. Good snap. Waddell with the snap. Symington is good from 21 yards, Cornell 26, Arkansas 10. Here's the kick from Miller.
Kicking team.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Peck with the transfer. Peck on the carry, 3-yard gain, Stallings on the tackle. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Room for McCullough. McCullough on the bootleg, gain of 14, Atwood on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. McCullough calls the signals. Slips it to Peck. 8-yard run by Peck, Yates on the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. Transfers control to Peck. Peck with a gain of 3 on the play, Hickey on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Spang. He dropped it. McCullough to Spang, incomplete, Larimore on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 37. Single wing formation. Scholl running. McCullough on the carry, no gain, Stallings on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 37. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. McCullough is off and running. Has an opening. McCullough on the carry, 11-yard gain, Hamburg on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Wide open field. 15-yard gain by McCullough, Yates with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough on the bootleg, loss of 2, Yates on the tackle. Second and 12 at the 13. Single wing formation. The give to Scholl. He throws to Eichler, incomplete. Scholl passes to Eichler, incomplete, Yates on the coverage. Cornell by 16. Third and 12 from the 13. 1:28 to go in the second. Single wing formation. Give to Scholl. He throws to Holland, intercepted by Hamburg. Scholl is intercepted by Hamburg, return of 0. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Atwood with the handoff to Atwood. Atwood on the carry, gain of 2, Kelly with the tackle. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Eakin lost 2 on the play, Kelly with the tackle. Third and 10 from the 20. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Medium outside pass. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Hickey, incomplete. Eakin back in punt formation. 45-yard punt by Eakin, out of bounds. Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. McCullough fades back to pass. False. McCullough with a gain of 3 on the play, Hickey on the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough calling signals. Hand off to McCullough. McCullough passes to Holland, complete. McCullough completes the pass to Holland, gain of 11, Eakin with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Scholl gives to Scholl. Scholl with the carry, gain of 3, Singer on the tackle. Cornell ahead by 16. 2nd and 7 at the 48. 0:19 in the second. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Short sideline pass. Caught by Peck at the 40. McCullough completes the pass to Peck, gain of 33, Larimore on the tackle, first down. Cornell up 16. Single wing formation. Larimore up in the box. McCullough fades back to pass. He checks down to Spang, complete. McCullough passes to Spang, touchdown Cornell. Rose will try the point after. The kick by Rose is good, Cornell 33, Arkansas 10. Here's the kick from Ruddy. Squib kick. The kick from Ruddy is returned 8 yards by Martin, Rose with the tackle. Here's the kick from Ruddy. The kick from Ruddy is returned 23 yards by Martin, Matuszak on the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. The give to Eakin. He throws to Hickey. Incomplete. Eakin to Hickey, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. He dumps it to Cole. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Cole, incomplete. Third and 10 at the 37. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Medium hitch to Britt. Incomplete. Eakin to Britt, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. Eakin deep in punt formation. "47-yard punt by Eakin, return of 14 by McCullough. Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. Scholl running. McCullough on the sweep, no gain, Singer on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 30. Single wing formation. Peck with the handoff. Peck with the carry, gain of 1, Thorpe on the tackle. Third and 9 from the 31. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. Short slant to Holland. Eakin deflected it at the 48. McCullough is intercepted by Atwood, return of 0. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Atwood tucks it under. Room to run. 25-yard run by Eakin. Peck on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. The hand off to Cole. Cole with a 2-yard run, Kelly on the stop. Second and 8 at the 25. Single wing formation. Atwood hands to Cole. Cole the ball carrier, gain of 3, Worcester on the tackle. Third and 5 from the 22. Single wing formation. Give to Eakin. He throws to Atwood. Eakin is intercepted by Peck. Return of 7. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Give to Scholl. Scholl on the carry, no gain, Stallings on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. Peck with the handoff. Peck with a 1-yard run, Stallings on the tackle. Flag on the field.
False start. Offense. Number 82, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Third and 14. Single wing formation. The give to McCullough. He throws to Peck. Complete. McCullough to Peck, gain of 12, Waddell on the tackle. McCullough to punt. A 44-yard punt by McCullough, 13-yard return by Eakin. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. The give to Cole. Cole the ball carrier, loss of 2, Spang on the tackle. Second and 12. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Eakin passes to Mosley. Incomplete. Eakin throws incomplete to Mosley, Peck on the coverage. Third and 12 from the 47. Single wing formation. Cole in the slot. Eakin back to pass. Medium into Frielberger. Complete. Eakin with the pass to Frielberger, gain of 24, Eichler on the stop, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. Eakin calls out the signals. He fades back to pass. Medium cross to Britt. He makes the catch. Eakin to Britt, touchdown Arkansas. Symington will try the point after. Symington makes the extra point, Cornell 33, Arkansas 17. Here's the kick from Miller. The kick from Miller is returned 32 yards by Brown, Hamburg on the tackle.
Holding, receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
First and 10 at the 26. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Scholl gives to Scholl. Scholl on the carry, no gain, Hickey with the tackle. Second and 10 from the 26. Single wing formation. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Eichler. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Eichler, Yates on the coverage. Third and 10 from the 26. Single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. Fades back to pass. McCullough passes to Eichler, complete. McCullough passes to Eichler, gain of 6, Yates on the tackle. McCullough to punt. A 36-yard punt by McCullough, out of bounds. Single wing formation. Eakin in the shotgun. Bootleg. Eakin lost 4 on the play, Holland on the tackle. Arkansas down 16. Second and 14 from the 28. 7:29 in the third. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Pass to Britt. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Britt. Incomplete. Eichler on the coverage. Arkansas trailing by 16. Third and 14 from the 28. Single wing formation. Eakin sets up in the pocket. He throws underneath to Cole, complete. Eakin to Cole, gain of 14, Van Ranst on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 42. Single wing formation. Atwood hands to Cole. Cole with a gain of 2 on the play, Kelly with the tackle. Second and 8 from the 44. Single wing formation. Atwood tucks it under. Eakin on the sweep, gain of 3, Worcester on the tackle. Timeout, Cornell. Third and 5 at the 47. Single wing formation. Eakin back to pass. Medium slant to Hickey. Incomplete. Eakin to Hickey, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. Eakin back in punt formation. Peck standing inside his own 10. A 49-yard punt by Eakin, return of 3 by Peck. Single wing formation. Shotgun. McCullough calls out the signals. Shoal running. McCullough gains 4 on the sweep, Stallings on the tackle. Big Red leads by 16. Second and 6 at the 11. Single wing formation. Pitch right to Eichler. Eichler gains 6 on the pitch, Eakin on the tackle, first down. Big Red by 16. First and 10 at the 17. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. McCullough will run. McCullough on the carry, gain of 6, Yates with the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. Bootleg. McCullough lost 6 on the play, Yates on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 17. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough with an 8-yard run, Hickey on the tackle. McCullough from punt formation. 42-yard punt by McCullough, return of 6 by Eakin.
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Eakin from the shotgun. Atwood tucks it under. Eakin lost 2 on the play, Holland with the tackle. Second and 12 at the 16. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Hickey. Incomplete. Eakin throws incomplete to Hickey, McCullough on the coverage. Third and 12 from the 16. Single wing formation. Hand off to Eakin. He throws to Atwood. Complete. Eakin completes the pass to Atwood, gain of 13, Roth on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 29. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Eakin on the carry, no gain, West on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Eakin calls the signals. Atwood pitches left to Mosley. Mosley on the pitch, gain of 1, Kelly on the tackle. Arkansas trailing by 16. Third and 9 from the 30. 0:43 in the third. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Medium cross to Hickey. He dropped it. Eakin to Hickey, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. Eakin back in punt formation. "45-yard punt by Eakin, 7-yard return by Peck.
Illegal block. Receiving team.
Single wing formation. From the shotgun. The hand off to Scholl. Scholl on the carry, no gain, Stallings on the tackle. End of the third quarter, Cornell 33, Arkansas 17. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Bootleg. 7-yard run by McCullough, Frielberger on the tackle. Third and 3 at the 20. Single wing formation. McCullough taking his time. Scholl hands to Holland. Holland with a lane. Holland with a gain of 17 on the play, Eakin on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. They're in a slow down. McCullough at the line. Slips it to McCullough. He throws to Eichler. Complete. McCullough to Eichler, gain of 13, Yates with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. They're in a slow down. McCullough at the line. Scholl tucks it under. McCullough on the carry, gain of 2, Waddell on the tackle. Single wing formation. Cornell working slowly. Hand off to Eichler. 1-yard run by Eichler, Hickey on the tackle. Third and 7. Single wing formation. Slow down. McCullough at the line. Give to Scholl. Scholl throws to Eichler. Intercepted by Eakin. Scholl is intercepted by Eakin, return of 0. Single wing formation. Eakin from the shotgun. Slips it to Eakin. He throws to Atwood. Incomplete. Eakin to Atwood. Incomplete. Van Ranst on the coverage. Arkansas down 16. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Single wing formation. Eakin shouting instructions. He fades back to pass. Short slant to Frielberger, complete. Eakin with the pass to Frielberger, gain of 12, Eichler on the stop, first down. Single wing formation. Eakin calls out the signals. Bootleg. With daylight. 11-yard gain by Eakin, Eichler on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Eakin barks out the signals. Hand off to Eakin. He throws to Mosley. Complete. Eakin completes the pass to Mosley, gain of 20, Eichler on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Atwood hands to Atwood. Atwood on the carry, no gain, Holland on the tackle. Single wing formation. Give to Mosley. Mosley on the carry, loss of 1, McKeever with the tackle. Arkansas breaks the huddle. 3rd and 11 from the 18. Single wing formation. Eakin back to pass. Eakin will run. Eakin with an 8-yard run, Eichler on the tackle. Fourth and 3 at the 10. Single wing formation. Arkansas in a hurry up. Eakin at the line. Drops back to pass. Eakin passes to Mosley. Incomplete. Eakin to Mosley, incomplete, Peck on the coverage. Single wing formation. McCullough from the shotgun. Show hands to Peck. 1-yard run by Peck, Singer on the stop. Single wing formation. Slow down offense. Holland with the handoff. Holland with the carry, gain of 2, Waddell on the tackle. Third and 7 from the 13. 8:22 left in the fourth. Single wing formation. Slowly coming to the line. McCullough calling the signals. Back to pass. McCullough dumps it to Peck. Incomplete. McCullough to Peck, incomplete, Waddell on the coverage. McCullough will punt it away. A 46-yard punt by McCullough, 6-yard return by Atwood. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Atwood hands to Mosley. Mosley lost 1 on the play, Holland on the tackle. Single wing formation. They're in a hurry up. Eakin calls out the signals. Hand off to Atwood. 4-yard run by Atwood, Holland on the tackle. Third and 7. Single wing formation. Arkansas in a hurry up. Eakin drops back to pass. Short cross. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Hickey, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. Eakin back in punt formation. Peck waiting inside his own 10. 35-yard punt by Eakin, return of 18 by Peck. Single wing formation. McCullough from the shotgun. Hand off to McCullough. He throws underneath to Peck. Incomplete. McCullough passes to Peck. Incomplete. Waddell on the coverage. Single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. Peck with the handoff. 2-yard gain by Peck. Stallings on the tackle. Cornell by 16. 3rd and 8 at the 35. 6:23 left in the game. Single wing formation. McCullough slow to the line. Fades back to pass. Medium cross to Holland. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Holland. Eakin on the coverage. McCullough to punt. A 45-yard punt by McCullough, 5-yard return by Atwood. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Atwood with the handoff. Atwood the ball carrier, loss of 2, Spang on the tackle. Single wing formation. They're in a hurry up. Eakin fades back to pass. Eakin throws underneath to Mosley. He dropped it. Eakin passes to Mosley, incomplete. Peck with the coverage. Third and 12 from the 23. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Eakin to Hickey against McCullough. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Hickey, incomplete. McCullough on the coverage. Eakin will kick it away. A 39-yard punt by Eakin, return of 9 by Peck. First and 10 at the 47. Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. Give to Peck. Peck on the carry, gain of 1, Waddell on the tackle. Cornell leads by 16. Second and 9 from the 48. Single wing formation. Taking their time. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Holland. Complete. McCullough to Holland, gain of 11, Eakin with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Slow down. The give to Peck. Peck the ball carrier, gain of 1, Britt on the stop. Single wing formation. They're in a slow down. Scholl hands to Peck. Peck on the carry, no gain, Thorpe on the tackle. Third and 9 at the 40. Single wing formation. Cornell taking their time. McCullough calls out the signals. McCullough fades back to pass. McCullough will run. 11-yard gain by McCullough. Eakin, penalty flag.
Holding, offense. Number 82, 10-yard penalty.
Third and 19 at the 50. Single wing formation. McCullough calling signals. Drops back to pass. Medium slant. McCullough is intercepted by Atwood, return of 41. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Eakin drops back to pass. Eakin checks down to Cole. Incomplete. Eakin throws incomplete to Cole. Penalty on the play.
Holding. Offense. Number 45, 10-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. Shotgun. Eakin drops back to pass. Short out pass to Hickey. Complete. Eakin completes the pass to Hickey, gain of 15, McCullough on the tackle. Second and 5 from the 31. Single wing formation. Baker in run support. Hand off to Eakin. He throws to Cole. Incomplete. Eakin throws incomplete to Cole, Roth on the coverage. Arkansas down by 16. Third and 5 from the 31. Single wing formation. Fumbled snap. Fumble. Eakin lost 4 on the play, fumble recovered by Eakin, Arkansas maintains possession. Fourth and 9 at the 35. Single wing formation. Eakin sets to throw. Long out. Incomplete. Eakin passes to Hickey, incomplete. Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Give to Peck. Peck with the carry, no gain, Eakin on the stop. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough on the bootleg, 4-yard gain, Britt on the tackle. Third and 6 from the 39. Single wing formation. The hand off to Peck. Peck on the carry, gain of 2, Singer on the tackle. McCullough to punt. "45-yard punt by McCullough, return of 10 by Atwood. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Long sideline pass. Incomplete. Eakin to Hickey, incomplete, Peck on the coverage. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Long outside pass. Incomplete. Eakin throws incomplete to Freelberger, Eichler on the coverage. Arkansas trailing by 16. Third and 10 from the 24. 0:38 in the fourth. Single wing formation. Eakin fades back to pass. Long sideline pass. Incomplete. Eakin to Britt, incomplete. Fourth and 10. Single wing formation. Eakin drops back to pass. Long out pass. Incomplete. Eakin to Britt, incomplete, Eichler with the coverage. Scholl takes a knee. Cornell 33, Arkansas 17. Welcome to Cotton Bowl. North Carolina battles Oklahoma. For this Action PC playoff game, Moronic boots it. The kick from Moronic is returned 41 yards by McCarty. Moronic on the tackle.
Illegal block. Receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. Clark hands to Martin. Martin gains 4 on the sweep. Mallory with the tackle. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark at the line. Clark running. Clark the ball carrier, gain of 3, Mallory on the stop. Third and 3 from the 41. Single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. Fades back to pass. McCullough throws into a tight window, incomplete. McCullough with the pass to McCarty, incomplete, Smith on the coverage. Martin back in punt formation. "37-yard punt by Martin, return of 7 by Lalande. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Bootleg. Has room to run. Lalande with a 15-yard run, McCullough with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Lalande at the line. He fades back to pass. He dumps it to Watson. Incomplete. Lalande to Watson, incomplete, Seymour on the coverage. North Carolina breaks the huddle. 2nd and 10 from the 44. Single wing formation. Radman gives to Radman. Room to run. Radman on the sweep, gain of 44, McCullough on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Someone jumped. Possible free play for Lalande. The give to Radman. Radman with a 2-yard run. Flag on the field.
Encroachment defense. Number 69, 5-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. And off to Lalande. Lalande throws to Cranick. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Cranick. Wood on the coverage. Second and 5. Single wing formation. Radman behind center. Radman will run. Radman on the carry, gain of 6, Lahar with the tackle, first down. First and goal from the 1. Single wing formation. Stacked line. Radman tucks it under. Lalande on the sweep, touchdown North Carolina. Moronic will try the point after. Moronic converts the extra point, North Carolina 7, Oklahoma 0. Moronic to kick off. Fumble. The kick from Moronic is returned 22 yards by McCarty, fumble recovered by Spiegel, Oklahoma ball. Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. He fades back to pass. Short slant to Young, complete. McCullough to Young, gain of 8, Watson on the tackle. Single wing formation. Clark tucks it under. McCullough on the carry, 4-yard gain. Palmer on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark at the line. Clark running. Clark on the sweep, no gain. Klein with the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. He fades back to pass. Short hitch to Shirk. He dropped it. McCullough passes to Shirk, incomplete. Third and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium in. Caught by Young for a first down. McCullough completes the pass to Young, gain of 20, Watson on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Give to McCullough. McCullough throws to McCarty, he dropped it. McCullough throws incomplete to McCarty, Smith on the coverage. Second and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. McCullough drops back to pass. False. McCullough on the carry, gain of 9, Woodson on the tackle. Penalty on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 19, 5-yard penalty.
Third and 6. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark running. Clark on the carry, gain of 4, Smith with the tackle. Fourth and 2. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Short cross. Caught by Shirk at the 10. McCullough completes the pass to Shirk, gain of 11, Laland with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Clark on the run. McCullough on the carry, no gain, Palmer on the tackle. Single wing formation. The give to McCullough. He throws to Clark, picked off by Sternwies at the 3. McCullough is intercepted by Sternwies, return of 48. First and 10 at the 49. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Watson takes the handoff. Watson on the carry, no gain, Young on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Laland fades back to pass. He throws underneath, complete. Laland to Kranick, gain of 5, Wood on the stop. Third and 5 at the 44. Single wing formation. Draw to Watson. Watson on the draw, gain of 10, penalty on the play.
Holding. Offense. Number 75, 10-yard penalty.
Third and 15 from the 46. Single wing formation. Laland drops back to pass. Long out. Incomplete. Laland throws incomplete to Palmer, McCullough on the coverage. Winborn will punt. Rogers standing inside his own 10. 29-yard punt by Winborn, 8-yard return by Rogers. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark from the shotgun. Clark on the draw. Clark on the carry, no gain, Severin on the stop. Single wing formation. Bad snap. Fumble. McCullough lost 4 on the play, fumble recovered by Stevenson, Oklahoma maintains possession. 3rd and 14 from the 29. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. Medium fly. Caught by Martin at the 44. McCullough to Martin, gain of 18, Lalan on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough lost 2 on the play, Moronic on the stop. Single wing formation. McCullough sets up in the pocket. False. McCullough on the carry, gain of 2, Moronic on the tackle. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Hand off to Clark. He throws to Young. Tipped by Watson at the 16. Clark is intercepted by Watson, return of 2. First and 10 at the 18. Single wing formation. Lalan in the shotgun. Lalan at the line. Watson takes the handoff. Watson with the carry, gain of 1, Bowers with the tackle. Single wing formation. The handoff to Kranick. Kranick with the carry, no gain, Wood on the tackle. Third and 9. Single wing formation. Lalan fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Radman. Incomplete. Lalan to Radman, incomplete, Spiegel on the coverage. Winborn to punt. A 32-yard punt by Winborn, 10-yard return by Seymour. Single wing formation. McCullough from the shotgun. Sets to throw. Medium hitch to Clark. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Clark, Sternwies on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 41. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark tucks it under. Clark on the sweep, no gain, Mallory on the tackle. Third and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. False. McCullough the ball carrier, 2-yard gain, Moronic on the tackle. Martin to punt. A 34-yard punt by Martin, out of bounds. First and 10 from the 5. Single wing formation. Lalan in the shotgun. Bootleg. Lalan on the carry, no gain, McCullough with the tackle. Single wing formation. Lalan drops back to pass. Pass in the flat to Watson, he dropped it. Lalan passes to Watson, incomplete, See more on the coverage. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Laland sets up in the pocket. Laland throws underneath to Kranick, incomplete. Laland to Kranick, incomplete, Wood with the coverage. Winborn to punt. In his own end zone. The punt is blocked, fumble recovered by Wood, returned for a Oklahoma touchdown. Boudreaux will try the point after. Boudreaux makes the extra point, North Carolina 7, Oklahoma 7. Here's the kick from Faber. The kick from Faber is returned 35 yards by Watson, Faber on the tackle. Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Bootleg. Laland on the bootleg, no gain, Shirk on the tackle. Second and 10. Single wing formation. Someone jumped. Possible free play for Laland. The handoff to Radman. Radman on the carry, loss of 2, penalty on the play.
Encroachment, defense. Number 54, 5-yard penalty.
North Carolina breaks the huddle. Single wing formation. Radman running. Laland with a gain of 2 on the play, Duggan with the tackle. Third and 3 from the 48. Single wing formation. Pitch to Kranick. Kranick with a gain of 8 on the play, Rogers with the tackle, first down. End of the first quarter, North Carolina 7, Oklahoma 7. Single wing formation. Laland calls out the signals. The give to Kranick. Kranick the ball carrier, gain of 1, Shirk on the stop. Single wing formation. Laland calling signals. Radman with the ball now. Radman on the carry, gain of 2, Young on the tackle. Third and 7 from the 41. Single wing formation. The give to Laland. He throws to Radman. Incomplete. Laland to Radman, incomplete. Winborn will punt. Rogers standing inside his own 10. "41-yard punt by Winborn, touchback. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark from the shotgun. He throws underneath to Martin. Incomplete. Clark throws incomplete to Martin, Woodson on the coverage. Tie score. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Short outside pass to Shirk, complete. McCullough to Shirk, gain of 11, Laland on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Give to McCullough. He throws to Martin. Complete. McCullough to Martin, gain of 12, Woodson on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. McCullough will run. 1 yard run by McCullough, Severin on the tackle. Single wing formation. The hand off to Martin. Martin on the sweep, no gain, Kimball on the stop. Third and 9. Single wing formation. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Shirk. Complete. McCullough completes the pass to Shirk, gain of 16, Laland on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Clark gives to Martin. Martin gains 9 on the sweep, Woodson on the tackle. Single wing formation. Clark tucks it under. McCullough the ball carrier, 4-yard gain, Mallory on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. False. Clark with a gain of 1 on the play, Severin with the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. Hand off to McCullough. Sacked by Mallory. McCullough is sacked by Mallory, loss of 4. Third and 13. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. Medium slant to Young, complete. McCullough completes the pass to Young, gain of 17, Watson on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Current drive, 11 plays, 67 yards. 3:40 off the clock. Bootleg. McCullough on the bootleg, gain of 2, Severin on the tackle. Second and 8 from the 11. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark on the draw. Clark on the draw, no gain, penalty on the play.
Holding, offense. Number 34, 10-yard penalty.
Second and 18 from the 21. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. He dumps it to McCarty. He dropped it. McCullough to McCarty, incomplete. Third and 18 at the 21. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. He fades back to pass. Long out to Martin. He dropped it. McCullough to Martin, incomplete. Fourth and 18. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Martin. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Martin. North Carolina breaks the huddle. Single wing formation. Laland from the shotgun. Laland barks out the signals. The snap is fumbled. Fumble. Laland lost 5 on the play. Fumble recovered by Kimball. North Carolina maintains possession. Single wing formation. Hand off to Laland. He throws to Kranick. Incomplete. Laland passes to Kranick, incomplete, Wood on the coverage. Third and 15. Single wing formation. Laland back to pass. Lalan is running. Lalan with a gain of 7 on the play, McCullough on the tackle. Winborn to punt. Wind at his back. "45-yard punt by Winborn, return of 25 by Rogers."
Offsides. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
First and 10 from the 43. Single wing formation. McCullough from the shotgun. Clark running. 4-yard run by McCullough, Palmer with the tackle. Tie score. Single wing formation. Give to McCullough. He throws to Clark. He's got it. McCullough to Clark, gain of 9, Sternwies on the stop, first down. Single wing formation. Give to McCullough. He throws to McCarty. Intercepted by Mallory. McCullough is intercepted by Mallory, return of 0. First and 10 from the 25. Single wing formation. Radman behind center. Radman in the shotgun. Radman on the run. Radman lost 4 on the play, Duggan on the tackle. Second and 14. Single wing formation. The give to Lalan. He throws to Kranick. Incomplete. Lalan throws incomplete to Kranick, Wood on the coverage. Third and 14 from the 21. Single wing formation. Lalan at the line. And off to Radman. He throws to Watson, incomplete. Radman throws incomplete to Watson, Seymour on the coverage. Winborn to punt. "41-yard punt by Winborn, return of 8 by Seymour." Single wing formation. McCullough in the shotgun. And off to McCullough. He throws to Clark. Incomplete. McCullough passes to Clark, incomplete, Sternwies on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 46. Single wing formation. Clark running. McCullough on the carry, gain of 2, Klein on the tackle. Tie score. Third and 8 from the 48. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. McCullough is off and running. McCullough on the carry, 8-yard gain, Kimball on the tackle, first down. First and 10. Single wing formation. McCarty with the handoff. McCarty running room. McCarty gains 16 on the sweep, Lalan on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Transfers control to McCullough. He throws to McCarty. He dropped it. McCullough to McCarty, incomplete. Second and 10 from the 28. Single wing formation. The give to McCullough. He throws to Clark. Complete. McCullough completes the pass to Clark, gain of 13, Sternwies on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Hand off to Martin. Martin on the carry, no gain, Mallory on the stop. Second and 10 from the 15. Single wing formation. Clark pitches left to McCarty. McCarty on the carry, no gain, Severin on the tackle. Third and 10 from the 15. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. McCullough throws underneath to McCarty, incomplete. McCullough with the pass to McCarty, incomplete. 32-yard attempt for Faber. Martin to hold. This will give them the lead. The snap from Spiegel. Faber missed the 32-yard attempt. First and 10. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Radman pitches left to Radman. Radman on the carry, gain of 2, Young on the tackle. Second and 8 at the 22. Single wing formation. The snap is fumbled. Fumble. Lalan on the carry, loss of 3, fumble recovered by Duggan, Oklahoma ball. Oklahoma breaks the huddle. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. McCullough calling signals. Clark running. McCullough on the sweep, no gain, Smith on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 19. Single wing formation. Hurry up offense. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium sideline pass to Martin. McCullough is intercepted by Woodson, return of 0. First and 10 from the 14. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Radman gives to Woodson. Woodson with the carry, gain of 2, Coppage on the tackle. Second and 8 from the 16. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Big hole. Lalan on the bootleg, gain of 16, Spiegel on the tackle, first down. Tie score. Single wing formation. Lalan fades back to pass. Short hitch. Incomplete. Lalan throws incomplete to Palmer, Rogers on the coverage. Single wing formation. Lalan sets to throw. Medium outside pass to Palmer, complete. Lalan with the pass to Palmer, 31-yard gain, Rogers with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Radman running. Lalan on the carry, no gain, Coppage on the tackle. Single wing formation. North Carolina in a hurry up. Lalan calls out the signals. Lalan fades deep in the pocket. Lalan will run. Lalan with a gain of 3 on the play, Duggan on the stop. Third and 7 from the 34. Single wing formation. North Carolina in a hurry up. Hand off to Radman. He throws to Kranick. Intercepted by Wood. Radman is intercepted by Wood, return of 0. Tie score. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. McCullough barks out the signals. Clark tucks it under. McCullough with a gain of 11 on the play, Lalan with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Clark on the draw. Clark lost 4 on the play, Smith on the tackle. Single wing formation. Oklahoma hustling to the line. Clark sets up in the pocket. Clark is off and running. 5-yard run by Clark, Severin on the tackle. Third and 9 from the 35. Single wing formation. They're in a hurry up. McCullough fades back to pass. He throws underneath to McCarty. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to McCarty. Martin from punt formation. "27-yard punt by Martin, return of 13 by Sternwies."
Holding, receiving team. 15-yard penalty.
Single wing formation. North Carolina in no hurry. Back in the shotgun. Laland calls the signals. Radman hands to Radman. With a lane. Radman on the carry, gain of 14, McCullough on the tackle, first down, and Favor boots it. The kick from Favor is returned 13 yards by Laland, Favor on the tackle. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Radman hands to Watson. 3-yard run by Watson. Flag on the field.
Holding, offense. Number 65, 10-yard penalty.
First and 20 from the 18. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Laland calls the signals. Give to Laland. He throws to Klein. Complete. Laland completes the pass to Klein, 13-yard gain, McCullough on the tackle. Second and 7. Single wing formation. Kranick with the handoff. Kranick on the carry, no gain, Coppage on the stop. Third and 7. Single wing formation. Radman on the draw. Radman gains 3 on the draw, Duggan on the stop. Winborn to punt. "66-yard punt by Winborn, touchback." First and 10 from the 20. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. McCullough sets up in the pocket. McCullough will run. McCullough with the carry, gain of 9, Laland on the tackle. Second and 1 from the 29. Single wing formation. Pitch to McCarty. 13-yard run by McCarty, Laland with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium fly. Incomplete. McCullough to Sherd, incomplete, Laland on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 42. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. McCullough will run. 1-yard gain by McCullough, Moronic on the tackle. Third and 9. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. McCullough will run. McCullough with the carry, 10-yard gain, Laland on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 47. Single wing formation. Clark gives to McCarty. McCarty lost one on the play, penalty on the play.
Offsides, defense. Number 91, 5-yard penalty.
First and 5 from the 42. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. Medium hitch to McCarty. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to McCarty, Smith on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense. Number 60, 5-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. The give to McCullough. He throws to Shirk. Complete. McCullough passes to Shirk, gain of 13, Laland on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 24. Single wing formation. McCullough calls out the signals. Current drive, 8 plays, 56 yards. They've used 2:50 on the clock. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Clark. Incomplete. McCullough to Clark, incomplete, Sternwies on the coverage. Second and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough drops back to pass. Throws to McCarty's back shoulder, complete. McCullough completes the pass to McCarty, 3-yard gain, Smith on the tackle. Third and 7 from the 21. Single wing formation. 10-play 59-yard drive. 3:06 off the clock. McCullough fades back to pass. He checks down to McCarty, complete. McCullough completes the pass to McCarty, gain of 2, Smith on the stop. Fourth and 5. Single wing formation. Current drive, 11 plays, 61 yards. They've used 3:38 on the clock. McCullough drops back to pass. Short hitch to Shirk, complete. McCullough to Shirk, touchdown Oklahoma. Boudreaux will try the point after. The kick by Boudreaux is good. Oklahoma 14, North Carolina 7. Here's the kick from Favor. The kick from Favor is returned 23 yards by Watson, Favor on the tackle. Single wing formation. From the shotgun. Watson with the hand off. Watson with a 1-yard run, Bowers on the tackle. Second and 9 from the 39. Single wing formation. Laland calling the signals. Radman with the give to Radman. Radman with a 4-yard run, McCullough on the tackle. Third and 5. Single wing formation. Laland at the line. Watson with the hand off. Watson the ball carrier, gain of 2, Lahar on the tackle. Winborn to punt. Seymour standing inside his own 10. "44-yard punt by Winborn, 13-yard return by Seymour. Single wing formation. Clark behind center. Shotgun. Clark calls out the signals. Clark on the draw. Clark on the carry, no gain, Moronic on the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Shirk. He makes the catch. McCullough passes to Shirk, 17-yard gain, Lalan on the stop, first down. Sooners leads by 7. First and 10 from the 41. 6:37 in the third. Single wing formation. McCullough calling signals. Give to Clark. He throws to McCarty, incomplete. Clark throws incomplete to McCarty, Smith on the coverage.
Pass interference, defense. Number 60, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. Clark running. McCullough gains 6 on the sweep, Mallory on the tackle. Oklahoma by 7. Single wing formation. McCullough calls the signals. Drops back to pass. Short hitch to Martin, he dropped it. McCullough throws incomplete to Martin, Woodson on the coverage. Third and 4 from the 38. Single wing formation. The give to McCullough. He throws to McCarty. McCullough is intercepted by Smith, return of 5. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Radman takes the handoff. Radman on the carry, gain of 2, Duggan on the tackle. Second and 8. Single wing formation. The handoff to Watson. Watson with a gain of 3 on the play, Lahar on the tackle. Third and 5. Single wing formation. Radman on the draw. Radman on the draw, no gain, flag on the field.
Holding, offense. Number 75, 10-yard penalty.
Winborn to punt. Wind at his back. "35-yard punt by Winborn, 11-yard return by Rogers. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. McCullough is back to pass. He checks down to Martin. Incomplete. McCullough passes to Martin, incomplete, Woodson on the coverage. Single wing formation. Transfers control to McCullough. McCullough throws underneath, he's got it. McCullough to McCarty, 1-yard gain, Smith with the tackle. Third and 9 from the 49. Single wing formation. Hand off to McCullough. McCullough to Clark. Incomplete. McCullough throws incomplete to Clark, Sternwies on the coverage. Martin back in punt formation. Lalan standing inside his own 10. "17-yard punt by Martin, out of bounds.
Offsides, defense. 5-yard penalty.
Martin from punt formation. Sternwies waiting inside his own 10. "24-yard punt by Martin, out of bounds. North Carolina down by 7. Single wing formation. Lalande from the shotgun. Lalande back to pass. Lalande is running. Lalande on the carry, gain of 1, Bowers on the tackle. Single wing formation. Lalande calls out the signals. Give to Lalande. He throws to Klein. He dropped it. Lalande to Klein, incomplete, McCullough on the coverage. North Carolina trailing by 7. 3rd and 9. Single wing formation. Lalande calls out the signals. He fades back to pass. Medium out to Cranick. Incomplete. Lalande to Cranick, incomplete, Wood on the coverage. Winborn back to punt. High snap. Fumble. Winborn the ball carrier, loss of 14, fumble recovered by Cranick. North Carolina maintains possession. 1st and goal from the 7. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Clark on the run. McCullough with the carry, touchdown Oklahoma. Boudreaux will try the point after. Boudreaux makes the extra point, Oklahoma 21, North Carolina 7. Favor with the kick. The kick from Favor is returned 23 yards by Sternwies, Martin on the tackle. Single wing formation. Lalande from the shotgun. Lalande barks out the signals. Radman tucks it under. With a lane. Lalande on the carry, gain of 12, McCullough with the tackle, 1st down. Single wing formation. Lalande barks out the signals. Radman hands to Cranick. Cranick lost 1 on the play, flag on the field.
Offsides, defense. Number 32, 5-yard penalty.
First and 5 at the 38. Single wing formation. Hand off to Lalande. He throws to Watson. Complete. Lalande to Watson, gain of 18, McCullough on the tackle, 1st down. Single wing formation. Radman pitches left to Radman. Radman gains 3 on the pitch, Coppage on the tackle. Second and 7 from the 17. Single wing formation. Radman tucks it under. Lalande on the sweep, no gain, Coppage on the stop. End of the 3rd quarter, Oklahoma 21, North Carolina 7. North Carolina trailing by 14. 3rd and 7 from the 17. Single wing formation. Lalande fades back to pass. Lalande passes to Palmer. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Palmer, Rogers on the coverage. Fourth and 7. Single wing formation. Radman in the slot. Hand off to Radman. He throws to Severin. Incomplete. Radman to Severin, incomplete, Rogers on the coverage. First and 10 from the 17. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. The hand off to Martin. Martin the ball carrier, 8-yard gain, Mallory with the tackle. Second and 2. Single wing formation. Clark pitches right to Martin. Martin on the carry, penalty on the play.
Illegal motion, offense. Number 63, 5-yard penalty.
Third and 6 at the 21. Single wing formation. McCullough at the line. McCullough drops back to pass. McCullough is off and running. McCullough with the carry, gain of 7, Klein with the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Bootleg. Lots of daylight. 12-yard run by McCullough, Laland on the tackle, first down. First and 10 at the 40. Single wing formation. Running right. Martin on the pitch, no gain, Kimball on the tackle. Single wing formation. The give to McCullough. He throws to Shirk. Complete. McCullough to Shirk, gain of 45, Laland on the tackle, first down. First and 10 at the 15. Single wing formation. Bootleg. McCullough with the carry, no gain, Mallory on the tackle. Second and 10 from the 15. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. Short hitch to Young, incomplete. McCullough to Young, incomplete, Watson on the coverage. Third and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough back to pass. Medium slant to Shirk, he's got it. McCullough to Shirk, touchdown Oklahoma. Boudreaux will try the point after. Boudreaux missed the extra point, Oklahoma 27, North Carolina 7. Favor with the kick. The kick from Favor is returned 11 yards by Watson, Favor on the tackle. First and 10. Single wing formation. Laland from the shotgun. Radman hands to Kranick. Kranick running room. Kranick gains 12 on the sweep, McCullough on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Hand off to Radman. Radman on the carry, no gain, Coppage on the tackle. Second and 10 at the 28. Single wing formation. Radman gives to Watson. Watson the ball carrier, loss of 2, Shirk with the tackle. Third and 12 at the 26. Single wing formation. Laland drops back to pass. Medium out to Klein. Incomplete. Laland to Klein, incomplete, penalty on the play.
Roughing the passer, defense. Number 49, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Single wing formation. Radman pitches right to Watson. Watson on the pitch, no gain, Lahar on the tackle. Second and 10 at the 41. Single wing formation. Hurry up offense. Hand off to Laland. He throws to Kranick. Incomplete. Laland passes to Kranick, incomplete, Wood on the coverage. North Carolina trailing by 20. 3rd and 10. Single wing formation. Radman behind center. Medium out pass. Incomplete. Radman to Woodson, incomplete, Seymour on the coverage. Winborn to punt. "36-yard punt by Winborn, return of 12 by Seymour."
Holding, receiving team.
Sooners by 20. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Clark gives to Martin. Martin on the sweep, no gain, penalty on the play.
Offsetting penalties, repeat first down.
Single wing formation. McCullough barks out the signals. Some movement up front. Possible free play for McCullough. The give to McCullough. He throws to Clark. Incomplete. McCullough passes to Clark. Incomplete. Flag on the play.
Encroachment, defense. Number 91, 5-yard penalty.
First and 5 from the 18. Single wing formation. Hand off to McCullough. He throws to Clark. Complete. McCullough completes the pass to Clark. 11-yard gain. Laland on the tackle. First down. Sooners by 20. Single wing formation. Slow down. McCullough fades back to pass. False. McCullough with the carry, gain of 2, Moronic on the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough working very slowly. Drops back to pass. Medium hitch to Martin. Complete. McCullough completes the pass to Martin, 18-yard gain, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. Oklahoma working slowly. McCullough back to pass. McCullough throws underneath, complete. McCullough completes the pass to McCarty, gain of 4, Smith with the tackle. Second and 6. Single wing formation. McCullough working very slowly. Low snap. Fumble. McCullough lost 5 on the play, fumble recovered by McCullough, Oklahoma maintains possession. 3rd and 11 from the 48. Single wing formation. McCullough taking his time. McCullough sets up in the pocket. McCullough will run. Running room. McCullough with a 16-yard run, Laland on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 36. Single wing formation. McCullough taking his time. Clark gives to McCarty. McCarty the ball carrier, no gain, Klein on the tackle. Single wing formation. Slow down offense. McCullough back to pass. McCullough throws to McCarty, he dropped it. McCullough throws incomplete to McCarty, Smith on the coverage. Third and 10. Single wing formation. McCullough fades back to pass. Short pass in the flat, caught for a first down by McCarty. McCullough to McCarty, gain of 12, Smith on the tackle, first down. Single wing formation. McCullough working very slowly. Clark running. McCullough on the carry, no gain, Moronic with the tackle. Single wing formation. McCullough slow to the line. McCullough at the line. Current drive, 12 plays, 63 yards. They've used 5:21 on the clock. The snap is fumbled. Fumble. McCullough on the carry, loss of 5, fumble recovered by McCullough, Oklahoma maintains possession. 3rd and 15 from the 29. Single wing formation. McCullough taking his time. Current drive, 13 plays, 58 yards. 5:54 off the clock. Give to Clark. He throws to McCarty. Watson picks it clean. Clark is intercepted by Watson, return of 0. Single wing formation. Shotgun formation. Lalande fades back to pass. Lalande will run. 3-yard run by Lalande, Jennings with the tackle. Second and 7 from the 21. Single wing formation. North Carolina hustling to the line. Lalande drops back to pass. Short out to Cranick. Lalande is intercepted by Spiegel, return of 17. First and goal. Single wing formation. Shotgun. McCullough drops back to pass. McCullough will have to run. McCullough on the carry, touchdown Oklahoma. Boudreaux will try the point after. The kick by Boudreaux is good, Oklahoma 34, North Carolina 7. Favor boots it. The kick from Favor is returned 13 yards by Watson, Martin on the tackle. North Carolina down by 27. Single wing formation. Shotgun. Lalande barks out the signals. The give to Lalande. He throws to Watson. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Watson. Single wing formation. Lalande fades back to pass. Lalande throws deep to Watson. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Watson, Stevenson on the coverage. Third and 10. Single wing formation. Lalande fades back to pass. Lalande throws to Klein. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Klein, West on the coverage. Winborn will punt. "36-yard punt by Winborn, return of 10 by Seymour.
Illegal block. Receiving team, 15-yard penalty.
Sooners up 27. First and 10 from the 31. 1:38 in the fourth. Boudreaux gives to Jennings. Jennings on the carry, no gain, Mallory with the tackle. Oklahoma in no hurry. Corrado controlling the ball now. Corrado lost 3 on the play, Palinsk on the tackle. Boudreaux takes a knee. Boudreaux will take a knee. North Carolina down 27. Single wing formation. Lalande from the shotgun. He fades back to pass. Medium slant to Palmer. Incomplete. Lalande throws incomplete to Palmer. West on the coverage, Oklahoma 34, North Carolina 7.